Okay then, good evening ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Joint Transport meeting for the 4th of June 2026. We'll start with the normal fire procedure. So if the fire alarm is activated, please vacate the offices via the stairs opposite. The lifts in the foyer, please do not use the lifts. Assemble in the Hawley Square on the green, and officers will assist you and advise you when it's deemed safe to return to the chamber. Mobile phones, could you please ensure that they are switched to silent and they're not used to make or receive calls in the chamber whilst this meeting is in progress. And filming of the meeting, I would advise that if filming takes place, anyone in attendance in the public areas may have their image captured. I urge anyone filming proceedings to avoid filming members of the public, particularly if there are children present. Does anybody intend to film the meeting? Thank you. Does anybody wish to speak under 20.1? No? Thank you. Agenda items.
Excuse me, Chair. Have you gone over the minutes of the last meeting?
We are getting there.
We're getting to them, Mr. Henderson, thank you. Right, welcome to any new committee members from Thanet District Council and Kent County Council. Thank you for joining us for this first Joint Transportation Board of the new municipal year. Apologies for absence. We've been received from Councillor Pope, Garner, Bright, and substitutes for Mr. Garner is Councillor Munns, and Councillor Bright's substitute is Mr. Matterface.
Councillor Matterface.
Thank you. Are there any declarations of interest? No, good. Do members agree that the minutes of the Joint Transport Board meeting held on the 12th of March 2026 be approved and signed as a correct record? Can I please have a proposer and a seconder? Thank you. Councillor Scobie and Councillor Matterface.
Okay. So we now need to go to electronic voting, which is I shall now ask officers.
Does anybody want to speak? Oh, yes, Mr. Henderson.
Yes, please, Chair. With regards to the minutes of the last meeting, within them and with reference to item 11, it was proposed by yourself and seconded by Councillor Matterface that the board endorse the approach as recommended, being that the proposed restrictions for Canterbury Road, Birchington and Botany Road were amended to reflect the concerns raised in that consultation. I'm just wondering if that motion was indeed agreed and duly considered, and obviously if there could be an update either within this meeting or if perhaps it could be added to the agenda for the next JTB, just namely in consideration that it was a busy weekend and the season is upon us now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Henderson.
I think we need to ask any of the officers from KCC for a response.
Okay, is there any officers that can give a response to Mr. Henderson? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So yes, we haven't done anything with the restrictions yet moving forward. We do it normally once a year, so it will be next year that we would make those changes or propose those changes.
Okay. So we go to the vote then for the minutes. I shall ask the officers to enable electronic voting. Members can now use the voting pad to tap in your vote. Which one? We have a problem, Houston.
Chair, do you want us to do it again because you couldn't vote, or do you want us to go ahead?
Do it by hand.
We can announce the vote. We can check for you what's showing.
Not working.
announce.
Okay, those minutes have been agreed. Thank you very much. Right, go to agenda item 4, which is the update on local electric vehicle infrastructure project with other electric vehicles charging infrastructure. And I shall ask Paul Velak, Thanet Highways Manager of KCC, to introduce the report.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, everybody. This report is for information, and as I'm not the author of the report, I'll give a brief summary, but it will be in order that any questions that arise regarding the report, if I could ask that they're minuted so that I could direct them to Tim Middleton and his team. The report provides an update on the local electric vehicle infrastructure project to deliver 10,000 electric vehicle charging sockets across Kent. It also updates on other EV charging options available to residents and businesses. The report gives an overview of the electric vehicle infrastructure project. It provides a look at Kent County Council's role in ensuring residents and businesses are able to switch to electric vehicles. And it also outlines how district, borough councillors and the public can help support the rollout. In February 26, contracts were signed with Urban Fox, and Urban Fox are a joint venture between Balfour Beatty and Urban Electric Networks. And Urban Fox will install, own and maintain the electric vehicle chargers. The first 6 months will allow for a mobilisation period, followed up by 10 years in which chargers will be installed across a phased delivery programme. KCC have been engaging with district borough council officers to ensure proposed planning is suitable for each area and any initial challenges that can be avoided. The first year will see 150 locations installed and approximately 13 per district. There's a link there. Urban Fox have a link to a site that will give further information. And one of the topics that's being discussed is cross-pavement charging solutions and cable gullies. Cable gullies are where there's a slot cut in the footway for the cable to go in. There are some safety implications that are being considered with that. There's a working group that's been set up within KCC to consider the implications of those cables in the footway. It's expected that KCC will be able to make a decision as to whether proceed with a limited scale gully trial later in 26. And the Appendix A shows an image of the type of vehicle charger that we're looking at. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Velak. Do councillors have any questions? Councillor Matterface?
Thank you, Chair. Appendix A's got, sorry, I forgot these, you have to be quite close to them. Appendix A's got 2 examples of chargers, the ones that go on the street. Now, at the moment, there's no consistency, there's no standard for the actual connection to your vehicle. So we have to assume that at some point there will have to be a variety of sockets. I mean, our EV, it's 2, 3 and 2 to plug in, but other places like at some of the service stations, our cable attachment doesn't fit. So the question is, will there be a variety of sockets to plug them in? And I noticed in the report it talks about different speeds. Obviously, the fastest one you've got will presumably charge you most. So there's nothing much about how these are going to cost. So presumably that is something for the future, how much it actually costs to charge up your vehicle. So the main question about the adaptation of the plug-in and also who is going to set the charges for these so we know if it's going to be feasible. Thank you.
Could I ask you if you know the answer to that, Mr. Velak?
No, like I say, I'm not the author of the report, and there is some detail in the report regarding the sockets 2.11 says it's intended that each location will have an initial 2 sockets available with 2 bays. But I think because Councillor Metaface's question is specific, if that could be minuted and to get a formal and appropriate response, I can direct that to Tim Middleton, please.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Councillor Yates.
Thank you, Chair. And yeah, thank you, Mr. Valek, for the report, and good to see a face from KCC at Joint Transport Board. My question is just, I think it might be actually for TDC. So how well are you going to collaborate? So if there's a TDC car park, for example, like Harold Road in Cliftonville, which isn't always as busy as other car parks, is that a potential location? I've had a numerous number of emails from residents wanting EV charging in Cliftonville. So if that was how would that site be evaluated? I've already put it on Urban Fox website. So yeah, what is that an option that could work? Whilst you're both in the room, I thought I'd ask. Thanks.
I think I might be able to answer that. Again, because Councillor and because Mr. Valek is not the author of this report, I don't think he'd be able to answer that question. Is that correct, Mr. Valek?
Yeah, I mean, the report does say that KCC have been engaging with district and borough officers to ensure proposed planning is suitable for each area and any initial challenges can be avoided. With regard to specific conversations and sites, I couldn't answer on that now unless maybe Penny knows any more.
So we are working with KCC. We have already assessed our car parks. A lot of them aren't suitable for electric vehicle charging. This proposal in this report is about on-street electric vehicle charging, not the car parks. So we do have a contract in place, but we do struggle with the electricity supply within Thanet to supply our car parks. But it is, yes, definitely something looked into. I can find out about Harold Road specifically.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. I might be able to give you a little bit more information on that because only the other day the rule change came in force that affects all driveways in England. A driveway rule change for homes across England is now in force in an effort to speed up development of electronic vehicles. Charging points, the Department of Transport confirmed that planning permission was no longer necessary for the installation in various locations across England. Now that's various locations. I'm not sure if this is under one of those various locations at the moment. The relaxation covers private residential driveways, workplaces and public streets. It started this time last year and the objective was to remove the bureaucratic obstacles that have been slowing the expansion of charging points, with reports indicating that securing planning permission from councils for public installations can now take as long as 9 months. Improving public charging infrastructure is considered essential in persuading more motorists, especially those without off-street parking, to make the switch to electric vehicles. And according to a report released by the National Audit Office in December 2024, the deployment of public EV charges is on course to meet the Department of Transport estimated minimum target of 300,000 by 2030. The government has pledged to ban the sale of new petrol and diesel cars and vans by 2030. So Lillian Greenwood, the Minister for the Future of Roads at the time of the change, announced we are cutting down on paperwork to power up the EV revolution so that drivers, businesses and those looking to make the switch will have more charger points to power from and less red tape to deal with. I could go on, but I think that gives you an insight into what is taking place and a slightly up to date on that. Thank you. No. So the report is for information only. Can the councillors note this report? Thank you. Agenda item 6, the Highways Forward Works Programme for 24-25 and 25-26. Oh, sorry. Apologies. I'm trying to get the meeting done quickly. Sorry, item 5, North Thanet Link Road, the scheme update. And I shall now ask James Raitt, Project Manager KCC, to introduce the report.
Thank you, Chair. Hopefully everyone can hear me. It's our first online meeting for a while. Thanks for hosting me today. Really good to be back at the JTB reporting on North Thanet Link. A lot of work's gone on since I last reported to the board. Got a short presentation to show members, and there'll be an opportunity for questions at the end. Just make sure the technology works. Just share my screen. If you can confirm you can see what I'm sharing, that would be great. Yep. Okay, so North Thanet Link. So the report that members will have seen is an update on scheme progress, the design development, the funding and programme, and the next steps for the project. So in terms of the proposed scheme, members will be well aware of North Thanet Link by now. There might be a few new members who perhaps less familiar with the scheme, but it's been quite well publicised locally. North Thanet Link's a strategic highway and active travel scheme. It's promoted by the County Council. The idea of North Thanet Link is aims to improve connectivity and resilience in the road network and provide travel choice across North Thanet. Provides an alternative east to west highway route to complement the existing A28 Canterbury Road. You've got various issues on the A28. You've got high volumes of traffic travelling through quite constrained areas of the network, particularly like Birchton Square. You go past a number of schools. Unreliable journey times, limited resilience during incidents. The road's been shut 2 or 3 times in the last 12 months. When that happens, you get a lot of rat running, inappropriate routing through roads that aren't designed for the level of traffic that uses it, particularly using during seasonal peaks as well, because you get link capacity issues on the A28 where you've got so much traffic trying to push through the corridor, and it just can't cope with it. The route's also designed to reduce pressure on local villages, in particular Acol village, where you get a lot of traffic running through the village, and you've got very limited sort of geometry, no footways, limited street lighting through there. The scheme provides a sort of bypass around the village, so allows us to strategically route traffic away from the village. In terms of how we'll deliver that, so North Thanet Link's a combination of new and upgraded highway infrastructure, so that includes walking and cycling and equestrian connections, improvements to existing roads, and obviously brand new links as well. As part of the scheme, when the planning application goes in, you'll see there'll be biodiversity net gain as part of the scheme. So that means that any impact on ecology has to be mitigated, and then we have to put an improvement on top of that as well. So there'll be actually a net gain in terms of biodiversity provision when the scheme comes forward. And there's also a number of highway and land drainage features within the scheme to help deal with overland flow paths and existing and new highway drainage. In terms of strategic fit, North Thanet Links forms part of the inner circuit route improvement strategy, which is part of the internal part of the Thanet transport strategy, and that supports Thanet's adopted local plan. It's a key scheme that's included within the local transport plan, and it was recently announced as a scheme in the government's Better Roads and Rail Journeys press release. So that means that the government have recognised North Thanet Link as one of the schemes in terms of national priorities for scheme funding. What's happened since the last board update? So last reported to the board in March 2024. We've been doing a lot of work on the scheme since then. We've been continued to work through Department for Transport's major road network funding process. Our outline business case that we submitted in November 2023 was finally approved in Q2 2025 last year. That opened up an opportunity to receive additional scheme development funding. So we received £3.2 million from the Department for Transport, and that enabled us to really progress the scheme in earnest with additional design work, planning work, and we could really identify the real land requirements for the scheme. So it's moved on from the previous design that was reported to the board. We've done a number of environmental surveys. You may have seen us out in the fields doing archaeological digs, lots of trial trenching, geophysical studies. We've recently done some utility surveys on Shotton Dane Road. So a lot of technical information has been gathered to help inform the planning application, which we are earmarking to submit this month, towards the end of this month. We've done focused update sessions with parish councils, ward members and councillors a month or two ago, and we've had ongoing sort of liaison with statutory consultees as part of our planning package. So we've had ongoing liaison with Historic England, Natural England, Environment Agency, and that's all the discussion we had with them has led to the design that we're going to be submitting to planning this month. So we had our OBC approved in Q2 2025. We got the £3.2 million funding. So the planning is expected this month. In terms of stakeholder engagement, the design evolution reflects the feedback we got in our 2023 public engagement process. We got a lot of support to the scheme in 2023 when we did our stakeholder engagement. Around 65% of the people that responded to our survey supported North Thanet Link. So whilst it's obviously the scheme's not for everybody, but it has got a strong following within the district. In terms of what's changed since the last consultation, we've got a roundabout proposed on the A28 Canterbury Road. When we consulted in 2023, there was a roundabout or a signal junction variant there. We've gone with the roundabout. We've added some new cycle path and footpath links to reflect some of the feedback we've had through from stakeholders. So there's now a new footway cycleway link down Brooksend Hill going towards Seamark Road. And there's been some additional footpath links provided in various locations throughout the scheme. We're going to be upgrading private rights of way TM13 to a bridle way. That's the one that runs between Shottendane Road near 20's Farm Cottages up to Caxton Road. At the moment, that's just a footpath link. That allows a better connected bridleway network within Thanet, because you've got lots of bridleways that link to footways, footpaths, and there's not a lot of it's not very well joined up as such. Street lighting's been reduced on the scheme to reflect some of the feedback and assessments we've had done. So we're focusing street lighting on the conflict areas, junctions, areas where people are going to be crossing the road to limit the environmental impact of the scheme. We're adding acoustic fencing in locations along the scheme to manage noise impacts onto the existing dwellings, particularly on Shottendane Road. We've done surveys of noise like before and after the scheme, so we're focusing in the areas where there's going to be severe impact on residents and getting that back to reasonable levels. Scheme footprints being scaled back to reflect the current state of play on development sites. So you've got the Hartsdown Gardens development. They've already started building the northern leg of the Shottendane Road to Hartsdown Road link. So that's been secured through legal agreement. So that now no longer forms part of North Thanet Link, although North Thanet Link will join to it. Proposed access roundabout on Shottendane Road has been removed to reflect the planning status of the Westgate development proposals. Members may be aware that there's a development proposal for 2,000 houses in Westgate. That hasn't been determined yet. It's been in for a number of years. So we've removed that roundabout. As we said we would in the consultation. There wasn't a positive outcome to the planning on that. That no longer forms part of North Thanet Link. Columbus Avenue Link has been realigned slightly to avoid archaeological areas within the farmland. So we identified some areas where we want to sort of keep clear of some buried artefacts, and so the scheme alignment reflects that. Park Road North has been the junction of Park Road North near Birchton Vale Caravan Park and Shottendane Caravan Park has been remodelled to reduce the impact on the scheduled monument that's in the field there. And Manston Road's been realigned further south to increase separation from the existing dwellings. So that's at the Margate Hill, Shottendane Road and Manston Road junction. Drainage proposals have been further developed, so we've included additional ponds, revised swales and ditch designs to reflect more information on drainage requirements for the scheme and land drainage around the scheme. So the idea is that the scheme doesn't interrupt flows existing overland flow paths, potentially get a betterment in terms of drainage because the existing drainage system is a combination of soakaways and soaking into fields. The new road will be designed with multi-stage cleansing SUD solutions. So that will mean that the water that goes into the ground will be subject to various treatments before it goes into the ground, which isn't necessarily the case at the moment. Junction geometry has been modified, so some of the junctions have been increased in size to accommodate projected traffic volumes and future demand. So we've done some modelling and anticipated what the flows will be for those junctions in 2043, and we're allowing for that extra over demand that might come forward in the future. Construction compounds, material storage locations have been identified and included in the planning application. And some of the access arrangements for some properties along the route, including farmland, have been revised following discussions with stakeholders. Planning submission will include a full environmental impact assessment and transport assessment. So be assured that the environmental impacts of the scheme have been fully appraised and mitigations proposed where it's necessary. And then obviously land and statutory processes. As part of the application, now we've identified the land that we need. We're in early stage discussions with land stakeholders in regard to acquiring the land that's required. Just so members are aware, there will be a compulsory purchase order progressed as part of this scheme, and a side road order as well. So CPO is where the council makes an application to purchase land, and the side roads order is the orders that are required to stop certain bits of highway up. So, for example, if we want to, we're planning on shutting Margate Hill as part of the scheme. It will still be open to walking and cycling, but it'll be shut to vehicular traffic because the Columbus Avenue extension will replace that. We have to do orders to do that. So the side roads order process is the way in which we will progress that process. So in terms of programme and key dates, you can see that it's been a long time coming, this scheme. We started the process in summer 2019. Our strategic outline business case was approved in winter 2021. Public consultation was 2023. Outline business case approved in April 2025, as I said earlier. CPO can't be published until we got planning consent for the scheme. So the idea is that we have to run a CPO to say that we've got a assurance over the programme for our scheme. That doesn't mean we won't continue to negotiate with landowners separately. So that doesn't mean that we just, the shutters come down, the council compulsory purchase the land. We'll be having positive discussions, and we've been having positive discussions with land stakeholders along the route. So we've had some quite positive discussions, and landowners have been very cooperative when we've needed to access land for surveys, etc., which we're really grateful from them for. Full business case. So we still have to navigate a full business case process for the scheme. That will happen potentially in October 2027. It all depends on how quickly we get through the planning process and CPO process. And then construction at the moment is earmarked for Q1 2028 with a 2-year or just over 2-year build programme. So the scheme will be open to the public in full potentially by Q1 2030. But there may be sections of the scheme that come online prior to that date. Obviously, all the dates that are on the screen are subject, and our estimates at the moment can be influenced by external factors and approvals. So if there's a delay in getting full business case approval, the construction date may move. Conversely, if we can acquire all the land prior to a CPO sort of inquiry being required, we could potentially better that time scale. So in terms of funding and position and financial implications, current estimate for the scheme is £76.7 million. That will be subject to ongoing review before the full business case is submitted. We'll do a fresh cost estimate once we've got through the planning process, because there may be changes to the scheme as a result of feedback from statutory consultees. 62.9 million of that will come from Department for Transport, 13.8 from Section 106 contributions from nearby development. The preferred funding route for us is the major road network and large local majors funding. But there is a fallback position. If that funding doesn't come forward, then the scheme could potentially get delivered in piecemeal via Section 106 funding only. But our preferred option is to get all of the infrastructure in early and in one hit, to reduce the disruption to the public whilst we're building, but also to entrench sustainable travel habits by getting those active travel links in as early as possible. So the full scheme funding is not fully confirmed until the full business case stage has been completed. As I've said previously, we've already been awarded £3.2 million from DFT. And there's been various sort of questions when I've been doing the rounds with the parish councils around what happens if development sites don't come forward, what happens with the funding. At the moment, the expectation is we'd receive the funding from developers through Section 106 contributions. If there's a delay with that, then the council will have to explore other funding avenues for that match funding amount, or enter into discussion with the Department for Transport. But at the moment, that's the expected funding route. So in terms of delivery, legal and governance points, there's no direct legal implications identified at present beyond the CPO and SRO process, side roads order process. Legal counsel will be engaged when we need it for statutory approvals and land acquisition. There was been a few questions at the sessions that I've run around local government reorganisation and whether that would adversely impact on our funding bid. Don't expect it to, but it's been identified as a national priority by the government. But obviously, if the LGR does come in, there may be additional government steps that need to be followed to transfer the scheme into any future unitary authority that might exist, depending on what happens with LGR. So in terms of programme sensitivity, approvals, funding availability and land processes are our main dependencies, and they could either accelerate or delay the scheme moving forward. Survey and highway impacts, we will have to do some more surveys moving forward to move forward into detailed design. They may be disruptive to the public when we're doing them, because we have to do some surveys on the existing Shottendane Road and Manston Road and A28 in areas to ready ourselves for detailed design. But we try and keep those disruptions to a minimum, and stakeholders will continue to be communicated with throughout scheme development. So immediate next steps: submitting the planning application, ongoing discussion with the Department for Transport for funding for this year. Continue to have discussions with DFT about the full business case requirements and what assessments are needed for that. We'll continue land acquisition discussions, and we'll commence the CPO process subject to the planning being granted. And then obviously following full land acquisition and tendering, we'll submit a full business case to the Department for Transport and await a decision to then move on to construction. So now's the time for questions. I've got this, obviously the scheme plans were circulated with the report, so if members have had a chance to look through those, happy to take any questions, or if there's any particular sections of the scheme that members want to focus on, I'm quite happy to do that.
Thank you, James. Do any councillors have any questions? Councillor Matterface?
Thank you, Chair. Two questions, James. Biodiversity net gain, obviously you will be setting a percentage when it goes to planning. Any thoughts, 10%, 20%, or is that open to discussion? My second question, sorry, James, go on, I'll take your reply.
Yeah, so just to respond to that, we're at 17% at the moment on the scheme. Reason for that is we're having to put in a lot of tree planting, the landscape mitigation that naturally ups the biodiversity net gain calculation. So at the moment we're at 17%. I think there's a requirement for 10 in policy. We're bettering on that, so that's a positive for the scheme as well.
Okay. Second question. Obviously, the Section 106 money is critical. Now, Birchington, the 1,600 houses got planning permission, but they haven't been built. Shottendane is in the progress. Westgate hasn't yet come to planning. What we were told at planning then was if the Section 106 money wasn't coming forward, then this could have an impact. But conversely, if the government didn't give you the full money, the impact would fall on the developer. So are you optimistic? Because I say Westgate's still not come for planning. What would happen? I think you mentioned it might be built in pieces, but Birchington obviously is a major concern in terms of the funding. Say Westgate still hasn't come to planning, and I don't know when that is planned. So any thoughts on that?
Yeah, yes, good question. So obviously Birchington's got its grant of permission, but it's subject to a legal challenge at the moment. To date, I believe that's still ongoing, and there's not been no decision on that. So it remains a risk to the project. If Birchington doesn't come forward, then obviously they're quite a large contributor towards the scheme. At the moment, we're working on the basis that it's an allocated site in the local plan. It's been granted planning consent, and it will come forward. But we'll have to react to that if there is a change in circumstances on the Birchington site. We'll have to react to that. We have allowed for flexibility in the Section 106 agreement for Birchington, because we're aware of the ongoing delays with the Westgate site, which is again another big contributor towards the match funding for the scheme. So we've got flexibility built into the Section 106 for Birchington, whereby we need to extract more funding from Birchington if it comes forward ahead of Westgate. We've got the ability to do that, and then obviously that will be evened out when the Westgate site comes forward in terms of the impact on affordable housing. So we have got flexibility in there. We're building as much as possible into it, and we built in a really early trigger into the Section 106 for Birchington as well. So the funding from Birchington needs to come forward. It's split into two tranches: a places for people section and then a Ptarmigan section. First occupation on both the sites, they have to pay their contribution towards North Thanet Link. So we've got it as early as we possibly could do within those negotiations with the developers. But yeah, right, they've got to start building, they've got to occupy before that money comes forward. So remains a risk to the project. We may have to delay progress if that funding isn't available, but there are other obviously funding tranches that we could potentially explore, but that we'd have to cross that bridge when we come to it. So work on the basis that we will get the money from the developers.
Thank you, James.
Can I just add to that, Councillor? You picked up exactly the same thing, but fortunately we've had this presentation before, and that was one of my concerns. And I think I'm right, James, in saying that the 106 money is in total approximately £11 million, and the Birchington contribution was 5.9 million.
Yes, it's 13.8 million in total. We've already secured around sort of £3 million worth of Section 106 money from the Hartsdown Gardens development and another development up in Westwood. So yeah, it's around 10 million we need from those two developments. So I think Birchington was around 5 million and Westgate was around 6 million. But we've got that flexibility in the Birchington Section 106, mindful of the fact that there could be a delay with one site coming forward. So, and we'll just try and secure this exactly the same situation on Westgate if that as and when that does come forward. So we're doing what we can as officers to de-risk the scheme as much as possible, but yeah, it remains a risk that we're trying to manage on the project.
Thank you, James. Councillor Shonk?
These microphones work, but
You have to speak into the microphone.
that's right. Thank you. Yeah, I've got a raft of issues actually, because I've followed the consultation through for a long time. My views will probably be different from most of yours. Being a member at KCC for a long standing, I've looked at pamphlets like that, growth without gridlock. Well, I can show you that we've had both. We've had the growth and we've had the gridlock. It's a great concern to people, but I'm a member of the town council. It's a great concern because I go to Westgate and Garlinge Residents Association, and they're dead against it. So you've made this look nice and glossy. There's lots of things I don't agree with on some of this. What's going to be the biggest problem is the 1,800 houses at Birchington, another 1,600, was it? 2,000 at Westgate. I mean, this is the best agricultural land that we've ever got. I know that doesn't come into it, but it does if you live in Birchington. I mean, have we got any more consultations coming along to let all these villages, Minster, Monkton, all those people are concerned? I mean, it's going to be a nightmare. Birchington will be like Southend in 20 years' time. I think we really need to go back to the general residents and really get some type of feedback from them. All these lovely brochures, and you made it look very glossy. I'm lucky enough to live in Ramsgate, looking at all the fields and the growing crops that we've got. Fair enough, I probably won't be around when it's all gone. It just needs a real think. And the 106 money, myself personally, nothing of it. I hope we run out of that money, because we'll stay as if. More roads, more cars, more bedlam. It really needs to be think. I mean, these Garlinge residents, I mean, they were quite vocal when we go there, and Westgate residents. So I'm not going to change my stance on this. It'll probably go ahead, whatever I say, but we must sort of take on board all the residents and the concerns, the gridlock, the growth. I think I'll leave it there, but it needs really to be looked at. And the cost, fair enough, it's going to spoil the whole area of Kent, which has been spoilt by overloading of housing, and this is not going to help. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shonk. Councillor James, sorry, can you perhaps give a little bit more insight into the consultation?
Yeah, so So we did a full-scale consultation in 2023 on the project. That included canvassing every single householder in North Thanet. Again, we got very positive feedback to our consultation. I think the main feedback we got on our consultation was people are rightly concerned about the level of housing that's coming forward within the area of Thanet. But my message to, I've spoken to some of the members of the action groups within Garlinge and Westgate, and I think the overarching message I'm getting from them is their concern around the housing. We've kept our road alignment as much as possible to the existing Shotton Dane Road where we can, to minimise the farmland loss from the scheme. But I think what you need to be very aware of is that this is a road scheme, North Thanet Link, and obviously the housing sites are subject to their own separate determination by the District Council. The worst thing to happen would be you get all the houses in Thanet and you don't then get the road infrastructure to go with it, which is a risk that could happen if North Thanet Link doesn't come forward. And you mentioned growth, Councillor Shonk mentioned about growth without gridlock. That's exactly what we're trying to avoid with North Thanet Link. So we've got a really good opportunity with North Thanet Link to provide additional road capacity, but also improve walking and cycling links as well without reducing existing road capacity. So it's one of those rare schemes where you get a win-win situation in terms of active travel and also road capacity as well. What you'll be able to do, if you live in Garlinge, for example, if let's say you live in Birchington, when North Thanet Link's delivered, you'll be able potentially in time, once the other developments have come forward within Westwood, you'll be able to cycle off-road all the way from Birchington into Westwood Cross, which you can't do at the moment. It's just not possible to do that safely at the moment. And you've obviously got the Viking Coastal Trail that goes around the edge of Thanet, but you haven't really got a spine of active travel and walking and cycling infrastructure. North Thanet Link gives you that. So it gives you that opportunity to choose, do you walk or cycle, or do you take your car? If you take your car, it'll be better catered for as part of North Thanet Link. But if you choose to walk and cycle as well, you've got much better facilities than what you've got at the moment with North Thanet Link in place. So it's one of those situations where we can address both of the deficiencies within the road network. So I think what I would say is, be careful what you wish for. If North Thanet Link doesn't come forward, I don't think that will stop the housing sites coming forward. You will end up with the worst of both worlds. So yeah, that's all I've got to say on that. But I think the majority of the people who opposed the scheme at the 2023 consultation were opposing the housing. I think it's quite difficult for people to disaggregate the scheme out from the housing, because obviously the housing is providing some of the match funding towards it. So, but what I would say to that is, I think it'd be remiss of us not to try and get some funding from developers. If development's coming forward, they should be putting some money in the pot for these roads. But this road's needed with or without the development. There's lack of resilience in the A28, something we haven't got at the moment. I've been a lifelong resident of Thanet. I know that this scheme's needed it's been needed for years. It just so happens it's coming forward at the same time as housing delivery. So I know that's a sensitive subject with some.
Any more questions? Do councillors note the report? Noted. Thank you. We move on to agenda item 6, the Highways Forwards Works Programme, which will be Mr. Valek. Just before you introduce it, Paul, agenda item 6, casualty reduction measures, 26 THCRM 2616. It should read across Vere Road at the junction of the High Street and not at the junction with the Broadway. If you could present that, Mr. Valek, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. This report provides an update and summarises schemes that have been programmed for delivery this year. I'm aware that members are very familiar with this report and will have had sight of it before tonight. I'm not going to go through it word for word, but it does outline the programme of works for this year. It's fair to say that we've made a good start in the programme with lots of work already started. We're following what has been an unprecedented winter in terms of challenge on our network with record numbers of potholes. But I'm pleased to say that alongside the planned programme of works, we've also got local highway maintenance support contract that's working at the moment, where we're resurfacing quite a lot of areas, returning to areas that presented particular problems through the winter with lots of potholes, that we're returning to them. You maybe won't have seen where we've been working because of the nature of the network. A lot of the work has been done at night. Some of the sites, obviously one of the main ones that's been done is the Broadstairs Road one, from Edge End Road all the way through to Dane Court Road. Large project there. There was a little bit of a spanner thrown in the works due to, towards the end of the job, in terms of a southern water subsidence void found. They're dealing with that now, and we should see that gone soon. If I could list a few of the sites to be noted that we've done in addition outside the works programme with funding we've received to deal with the pothole sites, and they are New Hayne Road, Margate Road at Westwood Cross near the entrance to Westwood Cross where the bus turns in. We've done a couple of large areas there. Margate Road down near the viaduct in Ramsgate. We've done a large section of Tothill Street, and Spratlin Street has been had a lot of resurfacing there. That's what we've done so far in the first couple of months. We've got a programme of works now for Queen Street in Ramsgate, St Mildred's Road Westgate, Westfield Road Garlinge, St Peter's Park Road Broadstairs, Sandwich Road Ramsgate, Grange Road Ramsgate, and Saxon Road in Ramsgate. And those sites that I've just mentioned now are planned for delivery end of June and into July. Alongside those schemes, I obviously have our usual revenue and capital budgets where we're doing smaller works area, reactive repairs. But I'm pleased to say our Thanet engineer has been very busy, and the contractor that we've been using has been delivering good work. And I think that's helped us get on top of the network and bring us away from the condition we were in the months of January, February, March. Happy to take any questions from the board. Thank you.
Do members have any questions or comments on this report? Councillor Messerface.
Thank you, Chair. It's for Paul. Appendix C, street lighting, Reading Street. Is that the one that was supposed to have been done by the end of March that never appeared after it had been flattened by a van one Saturday night? Because it's on the list, but you did tell me that it was scheduled for replacement by the end of March, but it's not as yet appeared. Or is there another one I don't know about?
Councillor Matterface, let me take that away, speak to our street lighting team, and come back to you with an update on that.
Thank you. The only issue you're going to find is when you resurface the road, they resurfaced over where the light was intended to be, so they're going to have to dig around to find the fixings. But thanks, Paul.
They should know with that, but let me find out what's happening with that.
Councillor Crowe-Brown, thank you.
Yes, Paul, just a word of thanks for the from the residents of Minster. You've done a sterling job around Pets Crescent, Tothill Street, Foxborough Lane, Grinsell Hill. Thank you.
Thank you, Derek. Yeah, a couple of sites that you brought in there that I forgot to mention as well, because yeah, we are, and we've got a planned surface treatment program through Foxborough, Cottington, Grinsell, and the lanes. So yeah, all good stuff. Thank you.
Councillor Shonk.
Does that work? Can you hear? Yeah. Thanks for that, Paul. I know you're busy, but everybody's on our back at the moment about doing this and that. There's the main part of the High Street in Ramsgate is very bad. You've seen that anyway. And Cannon Road, where I live, don't do it because I just live there, but it's been done over many a time. And there's a lot of abandoned road signs hanging around in Ramsgate. Some in the car park, Cannon Road. I don't know why they're hanging around, but anyway, I think Ramsgate Town Council want to have a catch up with you one day. Maybe myself and Terry can turn up, but as you sometimes go on holiday, as I will be going, maybe you can something can arrange. They've got a whole raft of issues, and I just said, ask Paul, see what we can do, what you can do, because you know we haven't got a magic pen, we haven't got a checkbook, but I'll leave that with you, Paul. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Councillor Shonk.
Thank you, Trevor. Yes, High Street Ramsgate is from Cannon Road down to the town, the pedestrianised area, and then up to the traffic lights at South Eastern Road. That's a site we've got on our list to look at. You mentioned to me in the past Cannon Road. We're going to have a look at that as well. The abandoned signs. I know it's something that's always on your mind, and there are quite a few out there. We'll look in particular in the area that you've mentioned, with regard to Ramsgate Town Council, they have approached us, and Lizanne, our community engagement officer, we're looking to meet them to look at their highway improvement plan, because it contains a long list of sites at the moment, as you're aware, to give them some guidance and support in where they can prioritise there. Thanks.
Councillor Yates?
Yeah, it was just it's not directly in this report, but I was just wondering if in the future JTB we could discuss Botany Bay. We had another weekend of really bad parking when it was really hot, and I think it might be a useful discussion. Would you be willing to include your thoughts on such a topic, Paul, if we included that on the agenda? Thanks.
Yeah, I think Botany Bay and the events you talk about have been spoken at, and meetings have been had in the past with stakeholders. It's not something that we've led on at KCC. We're involved in, and obviously we're as concerned as everybody are, and Thanet District Council. With regard to it coming to JTB as an agenda item, I know that Penny may have something to say on this, but it's maybe something that, and for JTB, until something gets to report stage, it generally wouldn't come to JTB. That doesn't mean to say that, because I know Councillor Finch has concerns about it as well, but it doesn't mean to say that it can be raised in another forum or a separate meeting held to raise your concerns, or to raise your concerns to Thanet District Council and to KCC. And what I will say is that the next JTB is 3 months away. Why, if you want to raise something, why would you want to wait 3 months to raise it then? Penny, do you have any comment on that?
No, I've got nothing to add. Thanks, Paul.
Go to John quickly.
Hello, Paul. Good to see you again. I haven't seen you for a long time. Going back to what Derek was saying about the repairs that you've been carrying out around the Minster area, is this now being dealt with your new contractor? Because one can't help but notice the quality of the repairs is just so much better than we've seen for many, many years. Is it the new contractor now in operation?
Is that you're talking about Tothill Street and down at Pets Crescent and those areas?
Tothill Street in particular, the road repairs that they've done up there are of an excellent quality.
Tothill Street and the other sites I mentioned earlier, they are it's a new contractor that's part of our local highway maintenance support contract. Elm surfacing. Yeah, we're very pleased with what they've been doing so far.
While you're on that subject, could you tell me the contractor of the Broadstairs Road? Because that's another one that's been really done very well.
Yeah, that's a site that our highway asset management team have been dealing with, and yeah, I'm not sure that's not Elm surfacing. I'm not sure exactly who that contractor is, but I'll find out for you.
Thank you, Councillor Munns.
Sorry, just to go back to Botany Bay, but can we get some focus on a strategic plan for that area rather than wait 3 months? I mean, how do we actually progress this? Because we can't wait another year to get something resolved.
Over to you.
We've presented a number of different options that haven't been accepted. We are continuing to look at different options and things we can take forward. I'm happy to arrange a meeting for you, Councillor Munns.
Okay, I'll be in touch. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, if I can be involved in that meeting as well, that'd be great. Thank you.
Any other questions? No? Just asking if you have got items to put on the agenda for the next meeting to get them in early, because there has been a request I'm afraid, very last minute, and it hasn't been. We haven't had the chance to put them on because the report facts have already been published. So that's a bit unfortunate given some of the circumstances that we've been talking about tonight. But I would urge, unfortunately, Thanet District councillors to lobby for something to be done to get this Botany Bay situation sorted out ASAP. But it is initially it's a TDC problem. Thank you very much. So that report is for noting. Do we note the report? Thank you. That concludes the business of this evening. Thank you for your attendance.